Are you struggling to get customers or to retain the ones you have? Well, if so, I got good news for you because I'm going to share with you the exact blueprint you can follow and implement in your business right now today to improve your sales and marketing effectiveness. This is the exact process I follow in my company, in the companies that I work with, and within our portfolio of businesses. So this will radically change things for you. But before I get into the one thing that you could do right now today to make all the difference in the world, let me share with you a story from my past that relates and will connect everything together, all right? So when I was 16 years old, I started my first business. I started it from my sister's garage. It was a landscape design build company. I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know how to read financial statements, let alone did I know how to sell work. I made a ton of mistakes in the process too. But here's what I learned along the way, that I was a terrible salesperson. I learned that I don't like selling, but I followed a different system and then I got a lot better and then it became second nature. And that's what I'm going to share with you here in just a minute. So here I was running this business. And at first I was doing everything. I was designing, I was bidding, I was doing accounting, I was the marketing person, I was running the crews, and I was just running myself rugged. So then I decided to hire people and to build out the sales and marketing function because I knew that's how we were going to grow and expand the business. And we did. We grew into a multi-million-dollar award-winning company. So it's kind of cool. But what I did is I hired designers, and designers were quasi-salespeople. So I'd hire a designer. The designer's job was to go out and meet with the customer. So they'd meet with the customer. Either they had a new home, a dirt lot, or they had an existing home. But nonetheless, they'd walk around with the customer. They would understand their pain points, their dream outcomes, and all these other things. And then they would go away, design the project, and then meet with the customer and present the design and also give them a bid. All right. So that was the process. They'd close them at this second meeting. Now, like I said, I wasn't a big salesman, and actually I probably did a terrible job, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that are way better than me, but this is just what I learned from my process. When I started looking at these projects in a different way, at first I was like just so hungry for work. I just wanted work. So I'd put on the pressure. I'd use all the sales tactics. I would overcome their objectives, and I'd follow all the things that I was reading about in sales books, and it wasn't super effective, and it made me just feel gross. Like, I don't like being that pushy, cheesy salesperson. That's just not for me, right? You may be nodding your head right now like, yeah, I don't like that either. Well, that's not my approach at all. In fact, I probably shoot myself in the foot sometimes because sometimes I used to tell customers like, hey, actually this company over here, they're way better at doing pavers than us. So like, you should hire them and then you can use us over here. But then I realized when I did that, and I had some giveaways where I was like, oh, we won't do the paver patio because we're not the best at it. Use this company. It actually strengthened my sales effectiveness because customers are like, okay, you're in my corner now, right? So it's like, oh, that's interesting. But here's the bigger strategy that I took. When I started treating my customers and these projects as my fiduciary responsibility to give them what they deserved, everything changed. So think about it. Like when I went out on these jobs, I would look at a property and I'd imagine this water feature like coming down the hillside and wrapping around this patio. And a patio would have a fire pit right in the middle. And we put some chairs and that's where their family would hang out. And I would say, look, you have a 3-year-old and you have a 5-year-old. And one day they're going to be in high school and they may want to have their graduation here. Or you may want their friends to come over to the house. And this is the hangout spot. And you could have more control over like what's going on with your kids' lives. And you could have influence over them and their friends in a positive way. And think about all the family outings in the backyard and, like imagine that. And that's what I did is I painted this picture and I shared this vision with them and customers were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's sign up. And I sold projects all the time. And these projects were high-end projects. They'd spend like $500,000, $1 million with our company to put in their landscapes. And it worked because, like I said, I treated it as my obligation to give them a product or service that would benefit their lives. And I think this is so powerful. So let me ask you this. In your business, do you have a strong offer? Okay, that's my first question. The second question, I guess the follow-up is the offer so strong that somebody would feel dumb to say no to what you have to provide them, right? In other words, is your offer so good and so solid that they would feel like an idiot not saying yes? So think about it. If I'm selling a fitness program and I say, okay, look, I have this program that'll get you six-pack abs. It's $99 and I could get you there in 1 year. Or I take another approach and say, look, I have this program that can get you six-pack abs. You don't have to change your diet. It only requires 10 minutes a day, and I'll get you there in 6 weeks. And it's $500. Well, which one's more valuable? Well, the other one, the second one is more valuable because it requires less sacrifice, less effort. And if I throw in a guarantee because I know my product will work, if I say, look, and I guarantee it, if not, I'll give you your money back. No questions asked. Well, it's a no-brainer. Who wouldn't want six-pack abs? And if you had $500, why wouldn't you want to spend them? It's no risk, right? It's no effort. It's very little sacrifice. Now, that's the extreme there. I don't have a program that will get you six-pack abs like that while you're still eating pizza and hamburgers and ice cream. Sorry, bad news. But this is what I'm saying. If you can package up your offer in a manner that is so strong and so compelling that people would have a hard time saying no, then you don't have to sell. That's what I'm talking about. Like, stop selling. Like, focus on your offer, strengthen your offer, focus on building a really good product that solves your ideal customer profile's main problem, the thing that will get them to their promised land. If you can focus on that, then selling it is going to be no problem at all. Look, I was just talking to a company last week that we work with, and I said, you could spend $1 million advertising your product over the next year. You could do that. That's one approach. Or you could spend $1 million fixing your product and service and then spending just a little bit amount of money in the future marketing it, right? So like, fix your product or service, like make it really, really strong. Make sure it's solving this biggest pain point of your ideal customer profile. Then it doesn't take a lot of money and a lot of effort to market it because word of mouth will market it and sell it for you. That's the biggest thing that I want to leave you with is this mindset shift where you take on a fiduciary responsibility to protect the interest of your clients. I'm going to share with you one last story here before I sign off, but let me just say this. In my business, Coltivar, the whole reason why we exist, we're a mission-driven business, and that reason is that I believe business is one of the best vehicles out there to improve the lives of people. I mean that. That's not some cheesy like punchline or anything else. It's true. I believe that I can elevate the lives of people through better business. I've seen it over and over again. I've seen somebody struggling with profitability and cash flow. They're like getting an ulcer because they're stressed out so much. We go in there, we put in place a strategy, we set KPIs, they start measuring things, they're overcoming their biggest obstacles, they're solving constraints, and the business takes off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I go back to that person. Now they're in shape, they're more optimistic about life, they're having better relationships with their family, and so on and so forth, because this success has them energized. So I truly believe that. So when I go to a company and I'm like, here's our system, and I'm going to share with you this system with conviction because I know it will transform your business. That's not me selling. That's me saying, I have a responsibility to share this with you. You can always say yes or no. But if I fail to share with you this system and you go down this path and you bankrupt your business, like I would feel terrible. So this is the last story that I want to share with you. And this came about the other day when I was running. It's like 5 a.m. It's like pitch black. I'm listening to my audiobook because I'm a nerd. And the book that I'm listening to is called Blue Fishing by Steve D. Sims. Check it out. It's very interesting. I don't even know how people get in these situations, but what he does is he gets people to meet celebrities of their dreams and like do all these wild adventures. He's like this expert concierge. And so anyways, in the book, he's talking and he says, I came across this one guy and he taught me like all these things about sales. And he says, he is probably my best sales mentor. And he goes on to share this story of when he was younger and he went on this ride along with the senior companion who was selling life insurance. That's what he's doing. He's selling life insurance. So he goes on this ride along and they go into this house, and I'm paraphrasing here. Just read the book. It's going to do this story so much more justice. But essentially they go into this house and there's a husband and wife, and this senior salesperson starts, pitching them. And he says, look, he's like, imagine what would happen if you didn't have life insurance. And he's like, husband, you're dead, no talking, you can't respond. You failed to get life insurance, and now your wife's stuck with, all these bills and trying to figure out the financial situation and everything else, right? And he starts to talk and he goes, no, I said you're dead, stop talking. And he's kind of aggressive. And Steve in the book, he's saying, oh, wow. I was like so uncomfortable. I was like, what the heck's going on here? He's like, it's so awkward. So he goes on to say how the salesperson is just like pushing. And he's like, no, I said you're dead. You can't respond. Wife, okay, you respond to this. And he really drove home the point, like, what would happen if you don't get life insurance for your wife and you leave her stranded? And so anyways, then they go on to say, okay, yeah, we see what you're talking about. We can see the value. So let us make a decision. We'll get back to you. And he says, okay, sounds good. So he pulls out a newspaper. He leans back in their chair and he's just like reading the newspaper. And they're like, we said we'll get back to you. He's like, okay, I'll just wait. It's like, I know if you have questions, the best time to answer them is right now. So just talk it over and ask me any questions that you have and I'll be here for you. Anyways, they end up signing up for the life insurance. I'm not saying this is a tactic that you should deploy at all. That's a little aggressive for me. But the lesson is when Steve got in the car with this senior salesperson, he was like, what the heck was that? He was thinking like, that was crazy, right? This guy said to him, he said, look, I would feel terrible knowing that this guy died and left his wife unprotected, ill-equipped to handle the financial responsibilities and everything else that comes from an unexpected death. He said, so I'm selling them life insurance, but I'm selling them this protection. And that story was like, yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I share with my clients all the time. It just conveyed it in such a better way. And that's why I'm sharing it back with you, is that this life insurance person felt that fiduciary responsibility that I'm referring to, where he's like, I would feel terrible if I didn't give you this product or service. So that's what I want to leave you with. Just, food for thought. Like, think about your product or service. Like, if you don't feel like it's up to par, if it's not really solving their biggest pain point, then maybe you need to repackage things or rethink things, right? But when you're in a business and you truly believe in your product or your service and you're convicted, it sells itself. So I would say stop selling. Focus on improving your product and service. And I'm not saying like, don't get leads and don't improve your funnel and don't reach out. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, stop doing like the hard selling and try to sell a product or service that you know is crap, right? Instead, focus on the product or service, then take upon yourself that fiduciary responsibility, that conviction where you're like, I have to solve your problem. Otherwise, I'm not doing my job, my duty out there in the world. When you do this, everything will change. If you want to talk more about this or you want to hop on a one-on-one strategy call, you can do that by going to coltivar.com. I'll provide some information down below in the description. Thanks for joining me. And in the meantime, take care of yourself. Cheers.